But we have done, then next week will be, from tomorrow it will be week 4.
Yes.
We'll have week 4, 5, then 6, 7 and 8 is March of exams and closure. I don't know whether it will begin earlier, but Form 3s will begin more, possibly earlier than you, because for you to for them it's 2. So which means we have many weeks. How many weeks for revision? Or
2, 3.
3 or 2?
2.
Why 2? If we have next week, which is week 4, then we have another week, week 5, then 6, 7, 8. Is it even 8? Because we are supposed to close schools by 24th. Around 24th, schools should have closed, because that time already KCSE will have started with home science, I think, and French. Yeah, so it may be a little bit earlier, so we may be having 2 weeks and some days. 2 weeks and some days, but let's see what we'll do. So we need to read chapter 6. Yeah, so that one is focusing on Chamaka, I think. Not Chamaka, Melusi. Yeah, Melusi. So let's start on that.
Sunrise through the heavens wide open over Banjul on the day the summit began. The sky above was a cloudless vastness, dashing dramatically in all directions. What really set the tone were 2 other first elements: the sun, very hot, and the Atlantic Ocean, not far away. These 2 determined the tempo of everything on that day. First, they produced heat and humidity so high as to cast a spell on all events to come. Then they added sweat which put a damper on each event when it came. The most important event on that day, of course, was the opening of the summit. Its principal participants were heads of state, 50 of them, so security was at its tightest. Yet, as Comrade Melusi waited in line to be cleared, he was a picture of calmness. He was not worried at all. To kill time, he was reflecting idly on the logic behind security clearance. What was the big idea here? To detect or to deter? The 2 could not be more different. Detection spots actual danger at specific points and punishes it there. Deterrence, on the other hand, sees potential crime everywhere and punishes it everywhere. So, again, what was the idea behind security clearance? Comrade Melusi decided it was to cover both detection and deterrence. His turn came. Not good, sir, said a young security officer after x-raying his briefcase. You have a tiny weeny boy here who
Yes, you have what?
You have a teeny weeny boy here who I'd like to see. You know, with this, he met with his eyes. Please show me this little fellow here. He tapped on a dark area on the screen of his x-ray machine. Caught by surprise, Comrade Melusi could not give the youth the calm response he might have given. Then he remembered, security clearance aims to detect and deter. By harassing everyone, bad and good, it does not only detect actual danger, it also deters potential crime. What little fellow do you mean, officer? Asked Comrade Melusi, now calmly. Sir, there seems to be a needle in your briefcase, said the youth. Oh, you mean that little fellow? Relieved, Comrade Melusi added cheer to his voice to announce willingness to cooperate. I'll get him out for you. He took out of his briefcase suitcase a cell phone pouch containing a needle and some medicine. It's for my diabetes, he told the youth, pointing at the needle. Comrade Melusi had discovered he had diabetes during a medical checkup that Adna had asked him to take while he was training at Alpha. Since his attitude towards diabetes had become professional, he owned the affliction hence my diabetes. The attention with which he read pamphlets about it was similar to the interest with which first-time car owners read user manuals. This attitude had paid off because he was now an authority on diabetes. Believe me, officer, he told the youth, without this medicine, I couldn't live a day. Is that right? The youth yawned, making even more obvious his indifference to what he had just heard. I wouldn't know, sir, he added, meaning he could not be any less interested. His interest in zero already. Then suddenly, he snapped to alert. He had remembered something. Hey, you could hurt other people with that. With this needle? Yes, with that needle. And what will I use for my next shot? Just as I thought. What next shot? Officer, let me ask you something. How old do you think I am? 70. Yes, plus or minus 5. That's correct. Now, out of every 100 people in that age range, 30 of us are diabetics. We are unable to regulate the sugar level in our blood, and that kills most of us. This medicine is what keeps those of us who survive alive. He brandished his cell phone pouch again. We should eat in our veins with needles like that one. That may be so, sir, but you cannot take that stuff in. Leave it here with me. I'll do no such thing if I have to wait here until the cows come home. What cows? Sir, you are holding up the line. This needle is my life. Officer, sir, there are at least 100 people lined up behind you, and they are all diabetic like me, I suppose. But where is the problem, sir? Just leave your stuff here. When it's time for your next shot, come get it and go out somewhere and eat. What's wrong with that? Comrade Melusi decided to get firm. Young man, look here, he said. It seems I have not made myself clear. The youth cut him off. No, sir. It seems it is I who has not made myself clear. Your needle is not coming in now, later, or ever. Is that clear now? Put it here. He held out a white plastic tray. Comrade Melusi pushed it away. What's it with you, young officers? His words were louder, their tone of calm gone. Are you hard of hearing, perhaps? Well, if you are, then listen harder. The youth nearly fell off his seat. Now, exactly as I tell you, and we both get on with our lives. Continue refusing to cooperate, and I ask them to come. He tipped his head in the direction of armed guards. And when they come, they will take care of you, as only they know how. Okay? Okay. It's your call. Still, you are forcing me to climb up a steep mountain of risk here. It ends in blindness, kidney failure, foot ulcers, leg amputations, and many other bad things like that. What was it about this litany of bad things that gave the youth reason to change his mind? Anyways, he did. All right, sir. The more I look at you, the more I see somebody I can trust. So, sir, I will let you in with your medicine after all. Please proceed.
Okay. Okay, so let's discuss that episode before we proceed to the next part. What do we see happening on page 82? During that day, what is set and how is the situation? Then what is being offered at the summit and what happens to Melusi? Yes.
Since he was also invited, he was lining up for the certificate.
Yeah. So remember when we read, was it chapter 2? Chapter 2 or chapter 1? It was chapter 1 where they told us some inconveniences of visitors. You remember?
Yes.
And they told us that they were using two methods: surveillance, whereby they would detect and try to suspect everyone heading towards the hotel. And apart from that, they would also try to prevent people from getting there. So they have also elaborated here, especially when Melusi is coming to the summit. So Melusi is coming there as a travel, of course, under AGDA, whereas the other people are the heads of state. And anywhere the heads of state are, you know that they are using two methods to detect any problem, like check that is suspicious, they don't allow you to carry it into the summit, and also to stop anyone who is going there with intentions which are bad. So whether you are good or bad, everybody has to be checked and you drop some things somewhere. So, for example, now I know that some of you have gone to some buildings, even in Nairobi. There are buildings where you cannot go with some aspects, like they will have to check. If you have even a syringe for personal use, they cannot allow you, a knife, items that are just suspicious. So they have to check at the door to make sure that nothing is being carried that can be controversial. So we see that aspect of detection and deterrence. Okay? What else do we see? Especially page 83. Yeah.
The officer was checking the Mrs. bag. He detected that there was a needle inside.
Yeah? So he checks, while checking, there can be some sound. Those detectors have sounds. If there is a metal, they'll detect in a certain way. A computer, there is a way they'll detect and all that. So here, they detected that there was something in the bag. And of course, it was a syringe. And Melusi has to defend himself. What else do we see? Yeah?
We learned that Comrade Melusi had diabetes.
Did he know that long ago? No. You want to elaborate? Yeah.
He discovered that he had diabetes during a medical checkup that Agda asked him to take.
Yeah, most times when you're traveling to a different country, even here in Uganda, they normally insist on yellow fever. You must show a certificate that you have been injected yellow fever. For abroad, they'll ask for corona, because remember, corona was an expectation. They'll need a certificate for corona, yellow fever, and they'll also test other things. They also have to test whether you're not pregnant, because especially if you're going, and remember in UK, if you bear a child from their soil, they automatically become citizens. So they'll have to check also such aspects. You have to give all those tests before you go, so that you don't become an inconvenient. So before he traveled to the summit in Gambia from his country, Zimbabwe, he had to take some of the tests, and through that, that is when he discovered he had diabetes. Do you know how diabetes comes? How? A lot of sugar. Yes? You have to research on diabetes. It's a very currently that is affecting people even who are young. Diabetes, cancer, which other disease? We have diseases that have become so common. So you have to check on how you get it, but it means blood sugar. But does it mean that you took a lot of sugar, that's why? No. Some of it is inherited, some is in life conditions. You've been eating maybe food that has some things so much or something like that. So after detection, of course, we have an injection. Someone injects themselves when you have diabetes, so that when blood sugars go high, you reduce by injecting yourself. And I don't know why of late there is also low blood sugar that is affecting people. In fact, last year we had 2 candidates who had it. Do you still have a student in this school who has it? Because last year we had 2. And the problem with low sugar, you feel like you don't have energy at all and you faint. So I normally used to see them all the time. You must always have something like sugar. Not sugar, but glucose, something to keep you going. Or else, if you don't, somehow they just feel like they are exhausted, their body doesn't have energy and they collapse. So that one is becoming very common also. I don't know, for whatever reasons. On page 84, what do we see? Yeah. Yeah, you know very well that a knife, a bottle, anything that pierces is not allowed in some places. You will have to be checked, and if it's there, it is taken, kept aside, and you'll pick only when you are leaving. So they thought that this needle, he may be intending to hurt somebody. And especially when he mentioned something to do with shot. A shot may be something which is causing harm to another. So they try to stop him. Anything else? Yeah.
Then the officer said that he thinks he's 70 plus or -5. Then Melissa said that is correct and said that hundreds of people of this age suffers from diabetes and 30 of them have diabetes, so they are not able to regulate the sugar level in blood, so they have to detect medication.
Yeah, so Melusi tries to defend himself, indicating that at his age and with many other people, they currently have diabetes or other conditions which are medicinal, and they cannot afford to sit without their their medicine. Do you think he was saying the correct or the truth? I don't know. Does it mean that once you go to in the summit, you will not come out and inject yourself if you are feeling uncomfortable? I think you can. He was only trying to prove a point here. Comrade Melusi, from the beginning, you saw he wrote what on career? Not applicable. Now, when you look through, he seems to have some aspect of arrogance. So he just was trying to prove a point that they cannot stop him to go with it. But if you have a medical condition, you can, I think a summit, you can walk in and out, if you have specific places you are sitting. Okay, then page 85, does he manage or not? How? How does he manage to go in with the syringe?
When the officer insists that Melusi gets the needle, Melusi pushes the tray away and becomes angry.
Yeah, so he becomes kind of wild and even violent. And, he talks about the consequences of not having his needle, that it will lead to so many situations of blindness, kidney failure, and so many others. And so, because he was insisting, the man who was checking decides to say, I trust you, just go in with it. So let's now go to the process of understanding how Melusi came to the situation he's in. Like, how did he get to be involved in AGDA? Because at least we have known about Abiola, we've known about Kimani, now we need to know about Melusi. Yeah, so let's check on that. Let's read from 85 now onwards.
The two men were having lunch at a restaurant in downtown Harare. But Alpha still lay in the future. Nevertheless, as it became clearer and clearer during the conversation they were having, Banjul would soon lie firmly on their trajectory. After defeating Smith, Comrade Melusi told his visitor, Zimbabwe had one urgent order of business still left, that of a peaceful passage to an government. To oversee this process, we hurriedly put together a transition government. Comrade Melusi looked around the restaurant. It was empty. He consulted a wall clock. He told him 1:30 p.m. There should have been many diners. Instead, he and his visitor were the only customers. People in Zimbabwe did not eat out anymore. Unless, as now, someone foreign was footing the bill. The economy had crashed. Comrade Melusi continued. The commander of our group was head of that government. He said. The visitor raised his eyebrows, surprised by what he had just heard. The commander of your group was? He asked. Lunch was his idea. There was a subject he wanted to discuss. He had told Comrade Melusi when they met. So how about lunch? Yes, on him. By the way, he had said, his name was Thad Longway, Director of Special Projects at ACDA, Agency for Governance and Development in Africa. You see, he continued, I had always assumed that the other guy, the commander of the other group, was head of the transition government. Comrade Melusi shook his head. No. The leader of our group was, well, live and learn, said the visitor. His voice was deep, as if he always spoke from bottomless holes in the ground. Correct, live and learn, Comrade Melusi agreed. Hungry, he looked darker than usual. Hunger does not have a dark side. Our leader and I had fought Smith side by side for years. This was why he used to call me comrade. Then independence came, said the visitor, urging his host on. And a new national anthem was sung. Comrade Melusi added, in English, blessed in the land of Zimbabwe. In Shona, the language of Zimbabwe's largest ethnic group, Simuzari Mureza wa Zimbabwe. In the Bele, my mother tongue, Kalibusiswe Ilizwe in Zimbabwe. He cropped out 2 lines in the Bele between pies and Vietnam. Our national motto was unity, freedom, and work. But what unity? What freedom? And what work? Above all, what for when we had a new ruler? What for when we had a new ruler now? Let me guess, you did not hit it off with the new ruler, did you? Asked the visitor. He was toying with his food, having tired of stabbing his favorite stick with a knife in search of flaws, then flipping it over on its other side to search for more. Now, with a fork for pen, he was drawing line figures in his mashed potatoes, snooping the figures out and then drawing them again. The new ruler did not appoint your minister. Correct, he asked. Correct. Comrade Melusi answered, then took a gulp of this coke. He loved it. Ha! The part of it that he
the part of it The part of it that remained.
The part of it that remained he set aside for another plant later. The man had other ideas. He said, like what? Like strengthening supporters and weakening opponents. You have to agree that was true. Remarked the visitor. To retain power, one said a wise man, a religion must make its supporters stronger, its opponents weaker. Your wise man was right. Comrade Melusi agreed. His roast chicken was nearly gone. Anyway, he was Shona, our new ruler. When he discovered I was Ndebele, he deemed me an opponent, presumed I was guilty and threw me out of his government. You are joking, merely on ethnic grounds. Yes, but the leader of our group did stay on. Although even he did not last long, a patch of firearms materialized
A cachet. We agreed that word is cachet. You remember when we were reading? In the sh and whatever sounds. Yeah, so the cachet of?
A cachet of firearms materialized at his home. Proof enough that he was plotting a coup. Therefore, out. The visitor pushed his lunch away. Too salty, he said. Let me ask you something, Mr. Melusi. Mr. Melusi, did you say no, no, no? It is Comrade Melusi. All right, Comrade Melusi. Are you saying the leader of your group was sacked? Correct. Melusi had polished off his roast chicken. Now he was picking up the last of his French fries. The new ruler fired him. A black hand went across the table for the paper stick and mashed potatoes that the white man had rejected. Hatred is not too strong a word to use here. Finally, had brought the two men to a parting of ways. The visitor saw Comrade Melusi's scavenging hand steal his lunch. Taking that as a hint, he broadened his earlier generosity with a new offer. Would you perhaps also like to have dessert, Comrade Melusi? Yes, I'll try their chocolate cake. You know, just to see if it is a creamy and yummy, as their menu brags it is. The pepper stick and mashed potatoes previously rejected were quickly disappearing. I have found menus often overstate their claims. Yes, grossly. The visitor sounded dissatisfied. His pepper stick clearly had not measured up. I think I'll just settle for a cup of coffee now. You will have only a cup of coffee, Mr. Longway. Yes, I hope they make it hot. The visitor looked around the restaurant. It had the mournful look of a funeral parlor. He snapped his fingers twice. Snap, snap. Then he backed out his whereabouts. Over here. His voice strode through the restaurant's wall towards silence like thunder through an empty cathedral. We'd like to order, please, more thunder. Over here, even more thunder. As if in her own trousers and a white t-shirt came running. Good boy, said the visitor. Now listen. Listen good. Good. For a friend of mine here, you go come bring chocolate cake. The visitor had slipped into minimal English. For me, also here, go come bring coffee. Made black, no milk, hot, hot. Here under the sun, young man, snap, snap, hot too. The young friend, believing this was now an opportunity to get down to business. Comrade Melusi cleared his throat then spoke. Mr. Longway, did you say there was a subject you wanted us to discuss? He asked. Yes, I did. But can't we do that a little later? Comrade Melusi, you are still telling me about the leader of your group. Yes, indeed I was, said Comrade Melusi, sounding a little disappointed. Well, no sooner did news of the dismissal of our leader hit southern Zimbabwe, where the Ndebele live, that anti-government unrest erupted in that area, smarting from their man's humiliations. People there went on a rampage and attacked every government supporter foolish enough to come in their side. Let me guess once more. Retribution against them followed. Yes, it did, swiftly. There swooped on the area the 5th Brigade, better known as the
Kukurahundi.
Gukurahundi. The what? The Gukurahundi. It is shorter for the year's past rainstorm that washes half of fields so storytelling can start. It washed off the Ndebele insurgents like chaff. All right. Comrade Melusi's eyes were starting to glisten with the beginning of tears. It started while I was still at work. I had a business office at Downtown Bulawayo, the capital of the Ndebele. I left my office at once and drove back home. His voice was flattering, but home was a 50 minutes drive away. He sniffled. So, by the time I arrived, the slaughter had already run its course. I found the front door of our house wide open. That was not a good sign. I called out my wife, Ziliza, Ziliza, Ziliza. She did not answer. This was a bad omen. I rushed to the living room. It was a shambles. I rushed out to the backyard. There was nobody. With my heart pounding, I pressed my face to the window of the master bedroom and peered. There was no one inside. I got back inside and tried the kitchen. And there she was. Her eyes were bulging from the despair. The Gukurahundi had strangled her. Then, as I thought, they had slain her on the kitchen floor. Now, Comrade Melusi dissolved in his tears.
Okay, let's stop there so that you can go for the break and we'll proceed from there. This is one of among the longest. Yeah, so we'll be finishing that on Monday, but keep reading. I really appreciate you are reading very well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good time.
Bye.
You want to fly?
That's hi.
Hi, how are you? Sijaanza. Kelly Sharp. Of course we have. Sharp, you're saying is 3:30. 3:30 a.m. Kelly, where is your country possibly? I've just forgotten now. You shared your country earlier, but I'm sorry I forgot that. So you are saying it's 3:30 a.m. Is that India or America? Let us know. And then I want to finish this part so that I don't have to go back to this next time. Oh, United States. All right. 3:30. So you wake up that early? You wake up that early. For us, sometimes we have, few additional, that is extras on Saturday. I believe the American system is a bit friendly. They don't have to strain students so much that forcibly make it that all the time they are learning. 3:30 a.m. you should be in bed. Baby Saja, how are you? And Lower Fox, I hope you're doing well also. And thank you for liking my video and, coming here on my platform. It's all about supporting each other. So this is one of the books that is very political. Currently, the books that are being studied in Kenya are all political. I don't know, for whoever chose this, be somebody who did not do a rational thought, because there are students who don't like political discussions. However, they have been forced to, because almost all the books have political aspects, including even other language. The other language we do in Kenya, of course, you understand in our syllabus, we have English and Kiswahili. Yeah, so in America, do you normally have Saturdays lessons? Because I know American system is quite friendly to the students. I saw Jerida's children when they went to America, they have a free time, they get to, they found the system very entertaining and relaxing. So I believe, you don't. I believe the system there really understands the students need their time to actually focus and also go through what they do. Yeah, it's only Monday to Friday, right? Of course, legally, that is what is supposed to be. The standard time for lessons should be Monday to Friday. However, there's this thought that Kenya people believe that without extra time, people cannot do it. It's like people are reading or studying for the students. So with that, they now embrace the fact of Saturday. They talk about this one is the time you have to compensate all that. But it's just an ideology out of fear and possibly taking the burden too much and pressing so much for the scores. And I think that is it, It's about rote learning that forces that. Because personally, I don't see that. When I was a student in my school, we didn't have that. But we made it because we would use that time now, compensate, like get to groups and work on aspects and revise, get to go through what people have learned. However, here it's a different situation. You even realize that during closure, we had schools which were still forcing students, even in the CBC level, the junior secondary and primary level, to go to school and even hide and put on the home clothes. That's how satirical the situation is here. But it is what it is, That's how Kenya works, and sometimes it is just the rote aspect of it. But we'll bear with it, hoping that one time people will understand that you don't have to press too much for anything. So, of course, I wanted to finish this unit so that next time I don't want to talk about it again. As you've heard from our reading and discussion, generally we have this fellow known as Comrade Melusi from Zimbabwe. Of course, he fought Smith, that is before independence. And when independence came, we have leaders and frontiers during the fight for independence. So for him, he had a leader in his front, and we had another leader, Boma, in a different, front. And finally, the other group won that leadership when independence came, okay? And of course, in Africa, I don't know why tribalism is a major concept or aspect that affects also how we offer development in places. So Boma, as the president of Zimbabwe, decided that he would not stand with the people who are not Shona. He had to weaken the opposition while strengthening the, that is the government. And the government, of course, for him, he believed that it was made of Shona. That is how Africa operates. When one person gets to an office, he believes his tribe is now the leadership and they're the majority. They get the majority of the position. And possibly if he does any extension, he does to the friends, with benefits, of course. So we see that Boma had to strengthen the Shona people because he was a Shona and weaken the opposition who were the Ndebele. And of course, under the Ndebele, we see that there was this guy known as Comrade Melusi because he had fought in his front with the leader. Now, the leader from his group, of course, is set, and there is a cache of firearms found in his home. Then it is established that these firearms are possibly forcing him to hold a coup. So what happens? It happens that he is taken away. Of course, he's arrested. And whoever remained now was Comrade Melusi. But now, remember the tribal aspect I've told you about Africa. So what happens is that the fella, Comrade Melusi, is also hit hard. Of course, the Boma as a president comes up with a group which is militia kind of, known as Kukurahundi, all right? Now, Kukurahundi, when you look at the Zimbabwean language, it was meant to clear the chaff. And what chaff are we talking about here? Human beings, not chaff in terms of, the ills that eat into our system. So, a lot of Ndebeles were affected, and of course, Melusi and his family. Melusi lost a wife during that process because the wife was strangled by that Kukurahundi group. All right, so you come from work, you find your wife is strangled, so of course you'll have bitterness throughout your life. And you can see that as he's eating in that hotel, he's quite traumatized, but at the same time he has missed on good food. So he eats with a lot of greed. He even picks the food of the stranger. And while eating as such, we see that he's, out to, consume. Sometimes stress can make you eat too much or eat too little. And I believe for Comrade, that was the situation. Now we see at the end of the day, what happens is that Melusi suffers a lot. Even his business in the slum is also cleared. And he has a massive economic loss. And I think we will be talking about it later. As you've seen the analysis, quite intensive but going on. So let's stop there because focusing on episodic analysis allows us to break into pieces a certain chapter and discuss bit by bit. Yeah, so bye-bye for now. Those from America, you are watching Kelly Sharp from America, somebody, Loa Fox, I don't know where you're watching from, Baby Saja, and all of you, have a nice weekend. Let's have other reactions later. Bye-bye.